After some hope last week that the worst daily COVID cases are behind us, today the daily infection report has jumped back to over the 2,000 mark. More details on that coming up, along with today's top stories. Sawadee krap, you're watching Thailand News Today, and we begin with a shout out to Tuan Min Win. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, who is now a Tiger legend. You can now be one too by hitting that join button on the channel's front page. So 2,014 new infections have been reported. Even more surprising today is the record 31 people dying from COVID-related illnesses. Yesterday, the death toll for a single day was 21. The CCSA reports that most of today's deaths were from close family and infected patients. All the people that died over the past 24 hours were aged between 31 to 83 years old. 29,765 people remained in hospitals or field hospitals under state care. Now, Bangkok again has the highest number of COVID infections with 675, although the trend is for the capital's cases to slowly drop, but the numbers are going up in the provinces. Now, I can definitely relate to that because Bangkok was pretty quiet over the weekend from what I saw, as I think people are taking the latest announcements really seriously. Meanwhile, Nonthaburi reported 277 cases today, Samut Prakan 161, and Chonburi 153. Outside the capital and adjoining provinces, Surat Thani with 69 new infections, Chiang Mai with 55, Pathum Thani 51, Nakhon Si Thammarat 48, and Samut Sakhon 45. Disease prevention measures are being tightened for passengers taking to the skies after several cases of COVID-19 were found on flights from Bangkok to Phuket. The Civil Aviation Authority has issued new guidance for airlines and passengers after passengers on 7 flights operated by 3 different airlines subsequently tested positive for the virus. Phuket officials have ordered airlines to contact other passengers and tell them to get tested and to self-isolate if they were on one of the affected flights. Now here is the list of those flights. You can read more about those specific flights at thetiger.com. Airlines are also required to add some further restrictions. The restrictions are that airlines are being asked not to fly from 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. In the event of flight changes, cancellations, or flight consolidation, airlines must contact passengers. All passengers must undergo rigorous screening at airports and must wear face masks at all times. Passengers' temperatures must be taken again prior to boarding the aircraft and again before leaving the destination airport. Airlines must consider appropriate arrangement of seating, taking into account social distancing to avoid congestion. Now, all that said, the Tiger notes a distinct lack of social distancing while passengers board domestic flights, as well as on the bus shuttling them to and from the terminal, where they are then jam-packed like a can of sardines. Angry supporters of the pro-democracy movement gathered outside Bangkok's criminal court yesterday after bail requests for detained activists were rejected for the 9th time. Those who had their bail applications refused include Parit Shiwarak, aka Penguin, who has been transferred to Ramathibodi Hospital after being on a hunger strike for nearly 50 days. Protesters marched from Victory Monument to Rashada Pisek Road, where they gathered outside the court to protest the decision to refuse bail for 7 detained activists. The activists used spray paint to deface signs outside the court, while also displaying the symbolic 3-finger salute. Objects were also hurled into the grounds, with police warning they would take action against the activists if they continued with their defacing public property. The protesters dispersed after around an hour, with organizers confirming a second rally is being planned. No further details have been announced at this stage. A new Suwon-Dusit poll shows that Thai people are eating healthier and eating at their homes as a result of the COVID-19 outbreak. The poll was conducted last week by Suwon-Dusit about current Thai eating habits. The poll found that nearly 76% of people were cooking at home more often, and 71% said that since the COVID era, they have paid more attention to the importance of food, myself included. My fridge has never been more filled with fresh produce and condiments, and I'm starting to perfect some really healthy recipes. Only 3% said they pay less attention to their eating. The poll showed that the restrictions have forced more home meals and fear of the virus creating more awareness of personal and home hygiene. Nearly 48% of those polled believe that healthy eating helped against the coronavirus. Nearly 50% were interested in knowing about foods that could help build a COVID immunity. 60% of those surveyed said they were choosing more healthy food, and 56% paid closer attention to the importance of food packaging. So we'd be interested to know how your eating habits have changed during the COVID outbreak in Thailand. So please comment below to tell us, and we'll pass some of that on tomorrow. And while a strange object 6 meters underwater off the Phuket island of Koh Eo remains unidentified, officials have determined that it is definitely not a bomb. Much to local relief of the local fishermen who spotted the object, Thai Navy officials determined the object was harmless, although they still didn't know what it was. The spherical metal object was found underwater about 20 meters offshore from Koh Eo, a tiny forested island off the southern tip of Phuket. The Vice Admiral of the 3rd Naval Area was called out with a crew to investigate. The object is described as about 45 centimeters in diameter and hollow, made out of aluminum or a similar metal. The Explosive Ordnance Disposal Unit of the 3rd Naval Area was able to determine that the device was not dangerous. And while we're talking Thai islands, Koh Lan, which is off Pattaya, is going to be closed to tourists for 15 days starting May the 5th. The island resort is waiting for the vote to be officially approved, but 845 residents and business operators voted on the island's closing. 420 voted for it to be closed to tourists for at least 15 days, while 306 voted for a complete closing to all incoming travelers. If the island's closing is approved, operators of resorts and lodging houses will have to clear out tourists by May the 5th, with the reopening of the island to be scheduled for May the 21st. Lottery vendors and hawkers from Pattaya will also be banned from entering the island. Postal companies and private delivery companies would only be allowed to deliver letters and parcels to the island's Na Ban boat landing. And that's all for the news today. Now please subscribe for tons of great content coming your way very soon. Now I'm off to marinate some chicken breast for dinner tonight. See you in the next show. Sawadee krap.